this is the first time in 15 plus years that Sporting Kansas City can look multiple years into the future and just have all sorts of runway and multiple possibilities, and we're not sort of pigeonholed into the Vermes vision. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of No Other Pod. I'm Jimmy, and he's back. My good friend, Daniel Kooser, is back from his theme park excursion adventure. What's going on, my friend?
You guys, I don't even, as we get older, these theme parks get harder and they take a toll on you, man. And I listened to you guys. I did. Didn't think I would catch strays when Chris was like, oh, yeah, Dan will surely have something to say. Like, implying that I'm a talker. And I'm like, fuck you, for one. No, but thank you to you both for holding things down while I was enjoying 80-degree sunshine, man, and came back to this cold cesspit of a place.
See, I love the fall weather. I'm happy. It's raining outside right now. It's like 40 degrees. I got my hot coffee and my sweatshirt. This is the vibe.
But compared to 85 for 5 days, like it was just, we landed. I didn't pack hoodie or anything. And I was like, oh, boy, it's really cold. We need to get to our car.
That's so funny. Yeah, it's because you did multiple parks. You did Disney and you did some Universal, didn't you?
Dude, we did Park Hopper, 2 days, 4 parks, Disney. Don't recommend it. It's intense.
That's crazy.
22,000 steps a day. You know how it is. Trained for this. Hips were great, man. Hips were real great. Got on Tron just fine. It was good.
Was that your first time on Tron?
First time on Tron. First time on Guardians Cosmic Rewind. That was the longest line, probably. We didn't grab a lightning lane because we were at Magic Kingdom earlier in the day, so we were knocking out stuff there.
Sure, yeah.
But dude, it's wild. And we had an Airbnb. Never done an Airbnb. Never wanted to do one.
Okay.
I'm a hotel guy, and I gave in. Well, guess what? We won't do one again.
Oh, no, bad experience?
Bro, we were at Halloween Horror Nights at Universal. Now, that thing's open till 2 a.m., and every line is like an hour or more. And we did not do the or more. We didn't do the Terrifier, the Five Nights at Freddy's, but we did 6 out of the 10 houses, right? Left about midnight. We come home, and the roof, like the ceiling, is leaking water, and it's getting progressively worse. And so we lay a trash can underneath, and it's filling up fast. And we're like, what is going on? We call the Airbnb guy. He's 2 hours away, and it's like approaching 2 a.m, right? It's getting crazy. And so we go get the person that's on security detail in this like condo area.
Yeah.
And they got to call the cops to do like a wellness check. My mind, I watch too many movies, dude. I'm like, okay, so someone killed themselves in a bathtub and the water's overflowing. That's where my mind went. Right? Because this isn't just like some water pipes or something, right?
Yeah.
Turns out it was an overflowing toilet upstairs, and the guy owns that B&B as well. And the cops were freaking out. Cops were like, I'm kind of nervous about this. And it's like, do your job, bro. Get in there. Do your job.
That's what you're paid for.
What are you talking about? You're nervous. But they go in there, and they said the place was just ruined. Can you imagine, like, say you have your laptop on the floor or something? Oh my God.
That's bad.
But we just said, hey, we got 3 nights left. We're not staying here. We're going to go to a Residence Inn or Hampton Inn, whatever it was. And we got a refund. So
that's good. That's crazy. That's never happened to me.
It takes one story to ruin an experience, though. Right. I mean, you get a bad pizza from a place, you might not get pizza from there, despite it being a great place,
Yeah. I'm sorry that happened. I'm glad it wasn't worse.
Right. It didn't damage our stuff at all, but like, good. I'd love to be a fly on the wall of that family who was in that one above us. Like,
so was there somebody in it as it was happening?
Well, no, they was being rented. Yes. Toilet just didn't decide to turn on.
So these people are sleeping. And
they weren't there. They weren't home.
Oh, they weren't home.
Yeah. So they were probably theme parking it too. Maybe Horror Nights. Who knows?
And all their shit just got ruined.
You come home, can you imagine? And you're thinking, oh, toilet water? despite toilet water being clean, supposedly from the clean side, it's still out of your freaking toilet.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, I have to ask of Tron and Guardians, which of the two are your favorite?
Well, I
I
did
know
Tron
mine.
first, right? And Tron was hype, and then Guardians was better.
Yeah,
It was
agreed.
crazy, but Tron was cool just with the mechanics, dude. To like
Yes.
lay down on a light cycle like that, I was
Mhm.
like, this is bizarre. My thighs feel too big for
Mhm.
this. I had to like reach down and
We're both
like
kind of
pull my
tall.
skin. Yeah,
Yeah,
we're a
it's
little tall. It was
it's
fun
weird.
though.
That takeoff at the beginning,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
But I did the Stardust Racers at Universal. That's a hell of a time too, man.
Survived.
Man, nobody dying on that. One person died on that, but like that was an investigation. It's
I
fine.
did know it
Everyone's
was a
fine.
different thing, but that looked crazy.
Battle at the Ministry, Harry
I
Potter.
don't want to know anything
I
about it
read it.
because I don't want any spoilers. I don't want to know anything about
Well,
that.
there's no spoilers. You've seen the queue, right?
I haven't watched any footage of Battle at the Ministry, and I haven't watched any footage of the Monsters Unchained.
See, that was dope too.
I'm trying to go in totally like.
When are you going in? What is
I don't
this?
know, next year or something.
Oh, you're gonna avoid spoilers for a year?
Yes.
That's crazy.
That's what I did
Why
for
not
Guardians.
just?
Well, Guardians, I was at Disney right after it opened, but I went on that ride literally not knowing anything about it, and I still think
Yeah.
about that experience because that was the best theme park ride experience I've ever had.
No, it was very cool. Wow.
So,
Interesting.
yeah.
I couldn't avoid spoilers for a year. That's bizarre.
Well, I'm just trying not to watch like videos and such, and I don't want to know. Like, I know there's cool animatronics and things, but like
You don't want to hear my fun experience?
I just don't want you to tell me what happens in the ride.
Sure.
So,
I got
but I'm sure you had a lot of good vegan food at Epcot. So,
quite. They take care of you. They got options for you, man.
was it Food and Wine Festival?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Food and wine, and of course, we had to do a couple escape rooms when we had a day off on Halloween Horror Nights Day. Man, I love escape rooms. Sure do.
That's cool. So and then we'll move on because there's lots of actual soccer stuff to talk about today. But I have to know. I'm a theme park guy. You know this. Epic Universe. How does it compare to the Disney parks?
Oh, it's just different. I mean, it's I don't want to compare them because they're just very cool, very immersive. How to Train Your Dragon was pretty dope. If I'm being honest, that was a pretty cool little area.
I've heard that's awesome.
And Super Nintendo, of course, is neat, but kind of childish over there. I mean, the Mario Kart thing is kind of like, okay, it's a little
underwhelming, right?
A little bit, but the Minecart Madness was kind of neat. The Donkey Kong thing, got myself a little DK Dole Whip float out of a DK mug for Dan Kooser.
There you go.
So
awesome. Did you see the How to Train Your Dragon show where he's like flying?
No, we bailed on that one, but we did see the Le Cirque Arcanu show in near the Battle of the Ministry.
Okay.
They have a little Cirque show that pretty wild, actually. Pretty wild stuff.
I've only seen one Cirque show. It was the Beatles show in Vegas.
It's not really a Cirque show, bro. Kind of like it starts out like that, and some guy's like making bubbles. Like he clearly has soap in his hands, and he's like blowing bubbles and shit. And putting like smoke in the bubbles, and then it turns into something completely different, like a story.
Interesting.
That is behind the scenes. Pretty wild.
Interesting. Well,
I could go on forever. We're 8 minutes in, I'm going on.
I know. I'm sorry. I nerd out about theme park stuff.
I know. We should chat about it. You'll be impressed when you're like, you did all of that in one day at 2 parks.
That's crazy.
We did great, man. We utilized the lightning lane. Even bought a single lightning lane for Rise of the Resistance. That saved some time that day. So
I know somebody who just went and they ponied up for the lightning lane premier access for their family of 4, and I was like, that's
insane. That's too much.
$2,000.
Way too much money. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
I don't have that money.
No, that's insane. And that just takes the guesswork out of it, I guess. I mean, you pay for that. It's a premium.
Yeah. But
wow,
I'm glad that you all had fun. But we missed you. Yeah. There's lots of good stuff. It was fun to have Chris on here on the pod. He's always real good. Now I do feel bad, and I would like to formally apologize to Chip because you sent me Chip's write-ups, and I go through both podcasts, and as soon as we finish ending both episodes, I'm like, damn it, I forgot to read Chip's write-up.
It's hard. It's hard to remember.
And he worked hard on those. So Chip, I'm sorry. Yeah. That's on me. Dan did his job and sent them to me.
Bro, I've forgotten too, like many times. Maybe not more than 5 times, but I've forgotten a lot. And and you feel bad. You're like, Jesus, this guy really put some time in here. And I'm just you get to talking and you just forget. We remember now when there is nothing to talk about.
Right. I read them. It was great analysis. Y'all should hear it.
You read through it. Nice. So good.
All right, let's take our break here real quick before we actually jump into some soccer stuff. But first, calling all Chiefs fans. You could be on the field at the 50 inside GEHA Field for the official coin toss at a Chiefs home game this season. Visit chiefs.com/GEHA now. Enter to win a chance to be on the field for a once-in-a-lifetime view of the pregame coin toss. Plus, you can score other exclusive prizes. Enter for a chance to win at chiefs.com/GEHA. GEHA is the proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll be right back.
I'm Brett Goodwin, one of the owners of The Learning Tree. The Learning Tree is a neighborhood toy store in Prairie Village, Kansas. This has been here in this location since 2000s, and my husband Alan and I purchased the store in 2023. Alan and I grew up in families where we've always wanted to have a business together. Alan grew up, for instance, his parents had a jewelry store. I worked in a local toy store here in Prairie Village when I was growing up. When this opportunity happened in 2023, we knew right away we wanted to contact them and pursue the store. We wouldn't have been able to get the store without the team at Emprise Bank. From the day we contacted them, they knew what we needed to do, which was very helpful. I would absolutely recommend the team at Emprise Bank to anyone looking to secure a business. We worked with Emprise from day one. They were extremely helpful. They were always great resources. We talk to them frequently. They know the area. They're very friendly. We know who we're going to talk with, and they know what we need to do. We hope we'll see you at the Learning Tree.
So one last thing I'll say about my trip for right now is that we're with a gal who works at Disney. And so to park, she has just a pass, just shows the pass. And they have a thing they say, which is like, thanks for bringing the magic or being a part of the magic or something. Mm-hmm. And so instead of park hopping via transit and all that, we just would go to our car and take our car to the next park.
Sure.
We had that pass. So it was cool. It was pretty convenient.
Yeah. When I grew up in LA, my dad knew somebody who worked for Disney, and that's how sometimes we'd get to go to the park. Like once a year, he could get us tickets. And so we'd go on like my birthday or something.
Love that, dude. Once a year. Man, if I lived out that way, I'd probably have some annual passes. And whenever someone visits, I'd just be like, yeah, I'll pop over there for a bit with you, you know?
There's all sorts of, I mean, when I was in LA, I had passes during college. It was a lot cheaper. Yeah. The most expensive pass back then was $499, and it came with a 25% discount and free parking.
That pays for itself if you just go a couple times. Yeah.
And now that pass is like $2,000. But yeah, it was awesome because you could go just for a few hours, hang out, may not even need to ride a ride. Walk in some of the shops that you're not normally going into, have a snack. And then
have a date night, go get some food.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was fun.
Cool.
So, but while you were gone, sporting made me look a little bit like a fool because last week when I was on here with our good buddy Chris, I sort of made what became a wrong prediction that we would not get sporting roster moves announced as quickly as we did. I thought, look, there's a high possibility that they're going to want to see what the new coach may think. They don't have to announce this for damn near a month. We probably aren't going to get an immediate announcement. And that was like on Tuesday that went out. And then Thursday, they announced the roster moves. So I looked like a fool. But for those of you, I'm sure if you're listening to this, excuse me, I'm getting choked up. For those of you who are listening to this podcast, I'm sure you are aware, but just to refresh your memory, Sporting exercised 2026 contract options for 4 players: Stephen Afrifa, Zoran Basong, Jansen Miller, and John Polskamp. So those 4 are coming back in 2026. Sporting declined.
Let's hold on real quick. Let's touch on that real quick.
Okay.
Afrifa's interesting. Young player. They see a lot of upside to him. It's like, okay, that makes sense to me. Zoran Basong, same, bro. He came in here and kind of started making, he had moments, right? He had moments of effort. And it's like, cool, let's keep him around. Jansen Miller, of course, came in and played far more minutes than anyone expected him to do. Mm-hmm. And John Polskamp was a brick wall when he had to be. I mean, the goals that got scored on him was no fault of his own. right? But he made a lot of saves that he made himself look good,
For sure. Now, I will say, I think the two, look, we knew that Sporting was not going to be able to move on from every single person on this team. Like, there were going to be people that they had to bring back regardless. I will say there was a part of me that thought Stephen Afrifa would not come back just because it seemed like, and I talked about this with Chris a little bit last week, it seemed like the current coaching staff, which almost certainly will not be the coaching staff going forward, but the current coaching staff didn't seem to rate Afrifa very well for whatever reason. He had 133 minutes this season. Last season, under Peter, he would get a lot more time. He was younger, 23, etc. He's 24 now, I want to say. He's going to be 25, really, by the time next season starts. Yeah, he was born in February 2001. So he'll be 25 by the time next season starts. That's still a young player, but like I said to Chris last week, that's the age where you're starting to see entering into your prime. I mean, that's how old Dejan Joveljic is. You want to be not just potential anymore by the time you're 25. So that one's interesting to me. Zoran Basong was also a little bit interesting to me because he is sort of like that Jimmy Madronda type player where he can play all over. But the reason Zoran Basong also makes sense, his guaranteed compensation last year was $114,000. So that is a super cheap roster pickup for a quality depth piece that can fill in a lot of holes. So those are my 2 cents. Miller, obviously, we knew Jansen was coming back, and Pulskamp, no question. So those 4, I'm happy.
Yeah.
Now, they declined contract options for a lot of people. Tim Leibold, Nemanja Radia, Ryan Sheway, Kyrie Shelton, and Mason Toy, while loan spells for Alan Montes and Santi Munoz have ended. And they continue and say Sporting is continuing to negotiate with both Ryan Sheway and Santi Munoz.
I get that. Little backup goalkeeper action. And wait, Sheway's goalkeeper, right?
There was a goalkeeper. He was there because there was Courtcamp, Sheway, and then Pulskamp. And we'll talk more. Goalkeeper's interesting. There's more stuff that David Lee said about goalkeeper coming up soon. But of those that Sporting declined, is there anybody that surprised you or anybody that you're like, I would have liked to see them maybe stick around a little bit more?
Well, honestly, surprising is Kyrie Shelton, because I thought that man would just not, like, I figured he'd just be here forever the way things were going. People have had issues with him being around. Then he would like do some things, and then it's like, this could be it for Kyrie Shelton. Then he's back. He's still here. So yeah, that's the one that's like, oh man, end of an era kind of deal,
It is. And Sporting put out a very heartfelt and nice post about a lot of the players who are not going to be with the club anymore, but Kyrie in particular. And I was happy to see. Now, it's sort of one of those situations where, like, I wish people would not wait until somebody's no longer with the team, or in more dramatic cases until someone passes away, where suddenly people are then like, we should actually say nice things about them. Because I saw a pretty good outpouring of support for Kyrie Shelton across social media after this news was made. A lot of people, at least in my circle, posting, he was a great guy, spent a lot of years here, worked hard, represented the club well. A lot of good outpouring of support for Kyrie Shelton. I wish he could have experienced that more as a player. He was unfairly often a lightning rod amongst the fan base and sort of was scapegoated, I think, unfairly for a lot of things that were beyond his control. But his salary last year was $775,000 in guaranteed compensation. Whoa. It's a lot of money. So David Lee did talk about in his press conference, which we'll get into more later, that there were some contracts that just hamstrung Sporting KC and prevented them from being able to compete. He didn't name specific players, but I would guess that Kyrie Shelton contract is probably one of those contracts that he was looking at and saying, we can't do that. So
makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I get it.
Now, in addition to the contracts that were declined, now I do want to say Leibold, I don't think is surprising to anybody. Nemanja Radia, I don't think is really surprising because he was a very expensive player and had some injury issues. So I'm fine with that. I think I was a little surprised at Mason Toy because, $300,000, decent depth striker. I would have been okay bringing him back. I don't know. What were your thoughts on Mason Toy?
I thought about that. Yeah, that was surprising to me too. But it's like you also got to realize it's a new regime, dude. Like whatever the current management sees in these players is not what someone new coming in has seen, and so everyone thinks differently. I mean, you get a bunch of heads in a room, like it's going to be different. So it's a new era, dude. And these moves, they're moves, I guess, lack of a better word.
Yeah.
It shows that it's a new era. So all we can do is be like, okay, man, because after like people out of contract options picked up, guaranteed contracts, we have 12 players under contract, and that's not much. So we're going to see this team it's a rebuild. That's kind of what this looks like. So exciting stuff.
Yeah, there were some illuminating comments from David Lee. He talked for 25 minutes, and then Carrie Zavagnin talked for another 10 or so. The whole press conference is about 36 minutes long. It's on Sporting KC's YouTube channel. You can watch it if you want to. If you have not seen it, I recommend it. It's very interesting hearing David Lee's insight. But you talk about getting different heads in the room and there being differences of opinions. It was Chad Smith, I want to say, who asked the question of, how did those conversations go? You've only been here for a couple of weeks talking to David Lee. Was that part of your interview process? How did those conversations go? And David Lee said essentially, well, we've obviously talked about it in my interview, but I was hesitant to say too much because I was only seeing from a distance. I didn't know these players personally. And he goes, then we got in a room, and I've spent many, many hours with Carrie Zavagnin over the last couple of weeks and talked with ownership and the coaching staff. And he goes, and the good news is a lot of what I thought from a distance also aligned with what Carrie and the others said in person. Now, what's interesting, he goes, of course, when you get multiple people in a room, there's always going to be a little bit of, gray area. And he goes, there's 1 or 2 or 3 players that were a little bit more of a gray area where maybe there was a difference of opinion on. And he did not elaborate more beyond that. But I'm looking at these players and I'm wondering if maybe Steven Afrifa was one of those players that might have been a difference of opinion because Carey didn't play him all that much. And Mason Toy was the other one where I was wondering if maybe there was a difference of opinion on because Carey seemed to like Mason Toy and Mason Toy played very well towards the end of the year. So
yeah,
we shall see.
There's definitely some people who were probably shocked to have this happen to them,
Yeah. And then not only are there the contracts that were declined, there were 6 players that are out of contract and they have just flat out said will not return to the club. Andrew Brody, not surprising. Joaquin Fernandez, not overly surprising. Logan and Denbe, maybe a little interesting there. Memo Rodriguez, Eric Tommy, who's the best of all the players, probably leaving, and Robert Volader. So are there any of those 6 players that are a surprise to you or that you will especially miss, even if it's appropriate to move on from them?
You already know. I mean, it's Eric Tommy, dude, the guy who wore the captain's armband on many games. And, and Robert Volader was kind of working his way back in and having meaningful minutes, but not that surprising there. Logan and Denbe is a little surprising. But Eric Tommy's the main one. It's just end of an era for him, man. Sporting favorite over these last few years or whatever it's been. And the sport sucks. Your people come and go and you kind of you almost got to view it as a college sport because your college players don't stick around. Like they're gone. So
yeah,
soccer can be like that too, man, with the movement. No one really stays for like 10 years, like a basketball, like an NBA player or something.
Yeah, Chris and I talked about that a little bit last week where sporting fans, I think they know, but like we've been over the last, 15 years pretty spoiled with the fact that we've had club icons stay with this club for damn near a decade or more. Like Graham Zusi and Matt Beasler and Benny Feilhaber and Setsanovic and Roger Espinoza, Tim Melia, even Johnny Russell, like players don't stick around with one club in global soccer that long.
That's pretty rare. Pretty rare.
And so, especially at least that many people, there might be a player who like becomes synonymous with, a single club. Like, Wayne Rooney leaves Everton and becomes synonymous with Man United for many years or whatnot. But to have a core like that, and the core kind of like shifted once through that time. But again, you sort of had these like 2 6-year eras of the same cores with Sporting Kansas City, 6-7-year eras. And that's not the case right now. Eric Tommy was a quality player who he came in at the same time as Gadi Kinda did. And he was asked to do a very difficult job and captained this team after a club icon and Johnny Russell left and through some very difficult seasons, and was nothing but a professional the entire time. Having said that, he made $1.7 million just about last year. He was a designated player. We have another designated player in Manu Garcia at the number 10. We have a couple of other wingers. He's, again, one of those who didn't quite fit exactly into a specific position, was a very talented player, but for the money, kind of makes sense, I guess. And Volder, he was not going to be a U22 player anymore, so his cap hit was going to skyrocket. So that's probably why that happened there. So, but as it stands now, Sporting currently has 12 players under contract, like you said. 2 goalkeepers, Jack Courtcamp and John Postcamp, although they're negotiating with Ryan Sheway. Just 2 defenders. This, if anything, I think is the story for me. There are literally 2 defenders currently signed to this team. Ian James, who's 17 years old, and Jansen Miller, who just came off of a rookie season. So we are going to have an entirely different backline next year. And then the midfielders of Jacob Bartlett, Zoran Basong, Jake Davis, and Manu Garcia. So again, going to be essentially a different midfield. And then the front line of Steven Afrifa, Dejan Jovic, Daniel Shalhoui, and Shapi Suleimanov. So 12 players. January 10th is when the new league year starts. So
that's basically right there, dude. Like, obviously you're lacking a couple defenders, but that's a starting lineup almost. You know what I mean? If you substitute that goalkeeper for a defense player.
The classic 2-4-4 formation.
Yeah, very excited. Hey, 2 goalkeepers, man. Maybe we would have done a little better this year,
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could if you really had to take these 12 players and they're like, you have to play a game right now and your life depends on it, you could turn this into an 11. You'd have Jake play right back and Zoran play left back with a couple of center backs. Then you'd have Jacob Bartlett, Manu Garcia, and probably Dejan in the midfield. I don't know. And then a front line of Afrifa, Shalhoui, and Shapi. It'd be weird, but wouldn't be good.
No, wouldn't
but
be great.
But you could do it.
Things are moving, man. Things. I mean, it's only October. And of course, all your off-season dates with your free agency, your waivers, re-entry, all that stuff. So that's coming all in December.
Yeah. So those are the roster moves. Let's go ahead and take our second break here. And then when we come back, I want to break down some of the quotes and read to you some of the quotes that David Lee and Kerry Zavagnin said from the press conference. But we'll take our second break. We'll be right back.
Chiefs Kingdom, I have got a question for you. What is your favorite touchdown? Well, for me, I can confidently say that my favorite touchdown, it's the next one, because with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, every touchdown could bring you closer to cashing in. From the first touchdown score to anytime touchdown props or the thrill of live in-game betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. From spreads to money lines, same-game parlays, regular parlays, you want it, DraftKings has got it. Here's the best part. Bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets instantly. I use DraftKings Sportsbook, and you should too. Your team hitting pay dirt pays out to you. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code KCSN. That's code KCSN to turn $5 into $200 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, fees may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bet must win to receive reward. Minimum minus 500 odds required. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
Hey, so I did that WWE haunted house at Horror Nights.
How was that?
It's kind of cool. Probably the least scary out of all of them, but it had some moments and it was cool as like a wrestling fan. But
you have like the Wyatt Six and such.
Yeah, the Fallout one was kind of neat. Do you watch Fallout?
I do love Fallout. Season 2's coming out soon, isn't it?
Oh yeah, and it was not exactly scary, but there were like some cool like, wow, this is pretty dope. You know?
Have you seen the new thing that launched near the Legends called Atlas 9? Have you heard about this?
I'm currently planning a birthday party to Atlas 9.
Are you really? Okay, because I was
So
watching
be,
something about it last night.
Be on the lookout for an invitation.
Oh, I wasn't gonna presume, but I'll be
be
there.
fun. It's supposed to be like, I don't know if you've gone to Meow Wolf or anything, but it's in the same vein as that.
It looks like that. It looks pretty cool. So
yeah, it does
I'm all for it.
for sure.
We'll see. That's cool. I'm excited about that. Okay. Birthday Dan at Atlas 9.
Play your cards right. You get an invite.
Once I gotta make sure pressure's on now for the next 20 minutes of this podcast.
Good behavior. Good behavior will get you.
I won't say anything about your bathrobe then.
If they're watching on YouTube, I'm robing it up, dude. Absolutely. It's cold now, man. You got to wear a robe when you get out of bed.
I love it. That's why I got my hot coffee.
There you go.
We are recording this on Sunday morning, and it's early. Well, it's not really that early.
It's not. It's early for someone who didn't sleep that much all freaking week. So I'm a trooper, dude. I'm like, what am I, a college kid again? Staying up all late and shit?
I know. Look at you. This is unusual for you. Hold on. Let me get my dog situated. I don't know what she's mad about.
Well, take care of him there.
So, David Lee talked for quite a while. It's kind of illuminating. It was interesting. I wasn't able to be there. Had some work stuff going on, so unfortunately I wasn't able to be there. But he was pretty open. He was talking about the need to be active in the global transfer market, but he also was talking about how with the MLS schedule, as we've heard many, many times before, it's tough to get players in the winter transfer market because that's the middle of the European season. So he was talking about just sort of how they were going to address MLS-specific roster mechanisms. He said there is some potential to get some green cards to open up some international roster spots because they do want to be active in the international transfer market. One thing that I thought was interesting, and I kind of want to get your thoughts on, is so if you recall, and for those who may not know, this is a weird MLS roster mechanism. You can have up to 3 designated players, and if you do 3 designated players, you can have 3 U22 players, which can be a younger player that has a more limited cap hit, even though they're a pretty good player. Or you can have 2 designated players, which allows you to do 4 U22 players and gives you some extra allocation money to build out your roster. David Lee said that they are leaning toward having only 2 designated players, which would be Dayon and Manu, and then hopefully having 3 U22 players to get some extra allocation money, and then leaving that 4th spot open for the summer window because that would give them some flexibility to either add a 3rd designated player if needed or a 4th U22 player. So clearly he's looking at this not just like we got to get a roster built by March, but he's looking at this as a long-term, wants to make the best decision. How are you feeling about sort of that approach heading into what's probably going to be a tough season?
Just obviously you want to win now. You're like, what's that? Like, let's do that. But like, it's clearly a marathon, not a sprint now. Like, we're not just trying to bring in flashy players and see if they work together. And which I wish we were. I don't know, man. Miami did that, and they're awesome. And LA Galaxy does that, and LAFC does that.
Yeah.
And why is this is it because I don't know. I look at it, and the ownership give him 6 years? And it's like money talks, bro.
It's like 7 years, yeah. I that's the thing. So he was very clear. He was like, look, if we could get everybody we wanted to by the start of the season, that would be great. obviously that's best case scenario. But he said, what you can't do, and this is sort of what he talked about Sporting over the last few years doing. He didn't name drop, but this is essentially what the previous regime did. He goes, you cannot just sign people because you need bodies, but then you overpay. You get yourself locked into multi-year contracts that aren't worth it. They're not really the guys you want, etc. He goes, if we have to wait 2 or 3 months to get the guy we want because they're going to be available in the summer, but we can't get them in January, February, March, I would rather wait those 2 or 3 months and get the guy who's then going to be here for 2, 3, 4 years and be impactful than sign somebody for an extra 2 months for too much money who's going to be here too long and sort of handcuffs us in the long term. Now, he did say, my job is also to put the most competitive team available on the field. And we only have 12 people on the roster right now. So very clearly there are going to be additions between now and the start of the year.
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting because this is a very exciting rebuild. But I also think that there's a distinct possibility that Sporting's going to have 20 plus rosters, 23, 24 players on the roster by the time the season starts, at least. But there are going to be some openings, and there might be some meaningful openings that may not come until the summer.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But we've seen teams like Seattle before where they brought in a player like Nico Ladero in the summer and then went on to win MLS Cup. So sometimes that summer window is important.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know, man. It's hard to be too excited right now. Like I'm kind of excited, and I get moments of like, okay, this is interesting, but it's like I believe things when I see it. I don't know. You're still only allowed to do what ownership allows you to do.
Yeah, and he has said that ownership has been very supportive of him and have promised him resources and such. Now, we'll see.
Yeah,
say that all you want. We got to see it in action.
Exactly. I mean, a lot of it's very politician speak sometimes. You know what I mean? It's really BS politician speak, and no one wants to hear that stuff. I mean, I ran for class president in 4th grade and told people I'd have a nacho fountain. That never happened. I didn't bring a nacho fountain to school.
Did you win?
No.
Oh, well.
But I was lying.
Had you won, we'll never know. You might have brought a nacho fountain had you won.
Never would have. It's all bullshit.
What is a nacho fountain? Is a fountain shooting out nacho cheese?
Like nacho cheese, yeah.
And you just get chips and you just go and you just start constantly eating nachos?
Or just put it on whatever you want. Yeah. You haven't seen this at like people's weddings and stuff?
I'm picturing like a full-size fountain. Like you walk outside and there's a fountain, and instead of like the plaza fountain.
Okay.
And it's,
I was more thinking the water fountains dispense cheese is where I was going.
In my mind's eye, I'm thinking like a plaza fountain, and people can just walk up with a bag of chips and they're just sitting there like on a date. And they're just, dipping their little chip in on the fountain and having
dope.
Some nachos.
As long as no one double dips or like sticks their face in it, like let's get after it.
Somebody's gonna swim and ruin it for everybody.
I probably would.
But I don't know. He said, players report on January 10th. He didn't want to put a number on how many players that will be there by then because he said otherwise I'm limiting myself. But he wants to get as much business done as possible. 2 players they're actively negotiating with, obviously Ryan Sheway, the goalkeeper, but he said they're trying to renegotiate Santi Munoz's transfer fee. He says that Santi wants to be here, which is the most important thing, and he's a quality player who could contribute to this team for many years, but they're trying to come to personal terms with Santi and to renegotiate the transfer fee to make it a little bit lower. They have until December 1st to trigger the option. So Santi, I think, started off hot, kind of cooled off a little bit, but a lot of players kind of cooled off toward the end of the year. But I was intrigued enough to have him come as a full-time member of this club if the price is right. I don't know if you feel differently or not, but I thought he was a good young player for like 23 years old.
No, dude, I think he's good to have around. So I hope it works out.
Yeah, for sure. In terms of goalkeepers, he said John Pulskamp had an excellent season in goal despite the number of chances we gave up. I think it's true. I think we all agree with that. Now, he did say he prefers to have 4 goalkeepers on a roster. We only had 3 last year, Pulskamp, Sheway, and Jack Korkamp. And they are looking to add a veteran goalkeeper this year because everyone in the goalkeeper room was 24 years old or younger last year. So we'll see, Sean Johnson just became available from Toronto. I don't know that that is the type of move he's looking to make or not, but I think having a veteran come in to either be a backup or push Pulskamp isn't a bad thing necessarily. I mean, what do you think? Competition, in my mind, is always good if you have two people who are challenging each other and pushing for playing time. So if you can have a veteran, I think it's good.
I think it's great. Absolutely.
Because if Pulskamp went down, I don't think either of us are overly confident with either Jack Courtcamp or Ryan Shayway stepping into goal full time.
That would be rough. That would not be an ideal situation.
Especially with the 17-year-old and 22-year-old we have as our only defenders right now.
Right.
He did talk about the head coaching search. He said a number of people have reached out. They're looking domestically. They're looking internationally. He's talked to Kerry. Kerry's expressed interest. He said previously Kerry can go through that process, but Kerry did a as good of a job as he could have done through this. So he's looking forward to getting to know Kerry more over the coming weeks and months. He did call Terry a top-class person, first and foremost, which is important, which I think you and I both very much agree with. But I don't know. There was just a lot of interesting things. He did also say, because there were questions about analytics and scouting. Are you going to build out the analytics department? Are you going to build out the scouting department? And those are two very important departments that, he's a big analytics guy. He kind of told the Kansas City Star, Sam McDowell, wrote a write-up, and David Lee said, over the last 10 years, the advent of analytics has grown. It's grown even further with AI, and we have to figure out how we can be ahead of the curve of innovation. But I really want to make sure we use information data to help make more informed decisions through the entire club. So that's a strategic shift for the club. But he also said in this press conference, I have to focus in right now on decisions that will impact this club in January, February, and March. We have 12 players. I have to get a coach, and I have to get players to be on the field. So the scouting and analytics will come in the next 12 to 14 months as opposed to the next 2 to 3 months. Which, I don't know, you seem like you're not entirely sure about that.
I'm not sure about any of it, dude. Like, I don't, this is really just like a cool, man. You get me excited. You get me a little interested, but like, don't tease me here. Give me what I want.
That is the hard thing about this is we're sort of flying blind here a little bit because we don't know what we don't know. This is uncharted waters for us as a Sporting Kansas City fan base. So,
yeah.
But what I did come away, I would encourage you, if you haven't, go watch the whole press conference with David Lee. I think it's very illuminating. I think it's very clear he has a vision for this club. He knows that this is a long-term project and he is committed, but it just feels like a different environment, a different approach, which
is hell. Yeah, that feels good.
It's refreshing, if nothing else.
Yeah,
because we're not hearing the same things that we've heard for 10 years.
For years, yeah. It was always the mentality. We had to hear about the mentality of the team for like at least 2 or 3 years.
And he said that the most important thing about this roster is they need depth. He flat out said the roster was not good enough and needs to be improved, and that's why they only have 12 people on the roster right now. So that's why they're looking partially toward that 2 DP, 4 U22 player. He goes, we need as much money as we can to build depth into this roster. And he goes, now that doesn't mean if the right designated player comes along, we're not going to try to make a move for it.
Right.
But we've seen what happens when somebody goes down and this team doesn't have enough depth. He wants to build out a roster of players that can step in and be a quality deep team, which I think is good. So
I think it's very good.
What is also interesting is Kerry Zavagnin talked. And Kerry, interim coach right now. That label hasn't been removed. It hasn't been elevated to permanent. We'll see. It was a little bit, this is me reading into it a little bit, but it's a little bit of a different Kerry, I think, than we've seen in some of the past press conferences. Probably because he just had some difficult decisions with a lot of players that he knew very well. But Kerry, in my view, I don't know if you feel the same, but is typically, even after losses, sometimes a positive presence, a little bit more boisterous.
What did he seem like here?
He seemed just a little bit more serious, more stoic, more He wasn't smiling. He would and again, this is a hard thing to tell people, hey, you're not going to be here anymore. But, there were some smiles here and there. But here's a quote that he said, which is a little different. He said, "We had a group of players that were going to be coming out of contract, and we saw that toward the end of the season. That really impacted the approach they took on a daily basis." So he's basically saying we had some players that essentially, in not so many words, gave up and sort of just decided they weren't going to put the full effort in anymore, which I think that is a difference. After the Houston game, he said, "I think if we saw anything out of this group, something that I'm incredibly proud of is that they never gave up." And now he's kind of saying there were some players who maybe didn't put in the effort that they needed to. So it's a little bit of a different, it's disappointing.
It's a different approach from him.
Yeah. But he, I don't know. It's just, this is such a weird time for Sporting Kansas City when you have an interim coach who's probably not going to be the full-time coach, if we're being honest, but is still in the mix and helping make decisions. It's just, there's still so much in flux.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think I am excited because, like I said, this is the first time in 15 plus years that Sporting Kansas City can look multiple years into the future and just have all sorts of runway and multiple possibilities, and we're not sort of pigeonholed into the Vermees vision. We'll see
Agreed.
if David Lee's the right guy for the job. We'll know 7 years from now.
Jesus Christ, that's too bad, but that's the truth.
Yeah. But I do think, he's saying the right things. He can only do so much right now. He's been on the job for 3 weeks, and so far he's made some very tough decisions. But I think, if nothing else, cleaning house and only having 12 players on the roster is indicative of he knows things have to change.
Yeah.
So
he's aware. He sees it, and he's making change. He's already putting his stamp on it, right? So he's not just being passive.
Not at all. And I think that we'll continue to see more and more changes. I'm excited to see what he builds out in a scouting and analytics department over the next year. And this isn't even touching on Sporting KC 2 doesn't have a coach right now. He's got to do that at some point. He talked about how he was going to U15 and U19 games as part of the academy to see that. All of this is part of, this job is so overwhelming. He's got to put together a first team, but at some point he's going to say, well, now what about SKC2? And what about the academy? And what about all of this? And that's a lot.
It is a lot.
So
no one's even thinking about SKC2, man. You might be the first one that's even said something like that.
He was asked about it. He goes, they don't have a coach. And he was like, yeah, they're a very important part of the team. Now I have to get our first team to have enough players to field the team by the season. But at some point, I'm going to have to turn away to hire a coach for SKC2 because they are an integral part of this program. I'm going to have to look at the academy because they are an integral part of this club. It's just these next 3 months, he goes, I'm hyper-focused on hiring a manager and building out our first team roster. So, we'll
okay.
see.
Manager's going to come first, probably. I mean, that makes the most sense, right?
He did say, now what is interesting, you jogged my memory, because someone asked him, do you think that they need to have MLS experience to be a coach? And he said, no. He goes, is MLS experience a positive? Potentially. Is MLS experience going to be the deal breaker between someone we hire and someone who doesn't have MLS experience? No. Because we've seen coaches come in from outside the league and be successful if they don't have MLS experience. He goes, now what is important is they are surrounded by people who have MLS experience and understand MLS roster building mechanisms, which he obviously has a lot of. So he goes, if I can find a guy who's never coached MLS but knows how to coach soccer and they want to be here, yes, I'm going to bring them in, and then I'll help shepherd them through the roster building mechanism. I'm not going to hire somebody just because they've been in MLS before.
Interesting.
So I kind of like that. I think that's a lot of people, just default to, go hire Jim Curtin or go hire somebody who's been here before.
Right.
So
who
knows?
There's a sense of that where I'm like, I wouldn't mind that, really. Someone has a proven acumen, but also someone new could be refreshing. I don't know.
Yeah. We'll see. I think we'll probably know a coach in the next month or two, hopefully, by the latest.
Yeah.
So they're doing a global search firm, lots of interest. So we'll see.
Global search. Love it.
Global search. Lots of interesting things right now for Sporting Kansas City. So we shall see. This is a new era for all of us. So we'll see how it goes. Is there anything else sporting related that you want to touch on before we just sort of touch on some MLS Cup playoff stuff real quick?
Nah, man, Sporting's gonna take a back seat, right? Like we gotta shift gears to MLS playoffs.
Now we got MLS playoffs, and we've had the 2 wild card games already. Portland, a couple of 3-1 games. Portland beat RSL 3-1 to move on to advance against San Diego, and the Chicago Fire won a playoff game for the first time, I think, since the Kansas City Wizards were around. They beat Orlando City, which is a little bit of an upset, I would say, 3-1. Greg Berhalter gets a MLS playoff win, and they move on to face the Supporters Shield winning Philadelphia Union. So now we're recording this on Sunday, so the first games are Sunday and then Monday and all the way through Wednesday, Thursday, I think are round ones. As you're looking at the playoff bracket, I asked this of Chris last week, but is there a team that you're sort of drawn to and you're like, oh, that's kind of the team I want to root for throughout these playoffs? I have one in my mind that I mentioned to Chris last week, but
do you? Are you talking lower teams?
Yeah, I mean, like Minnesota. I'm always kind of drawn to like the Midwest. Like, they're sort of the underdogs. Like, if they could beat Seattle and somehow work their way through, that'd be pretty cool for me. Even in Nashville, like, I'd be happy if they did it.
So. Shit, I don't know. I mean, I'm always gonna watch Miami because that's the star power.
But I don't want Miami to win. Like, if Nashville beat Miami, that would be so funny to me. And I think MLS would be so mad, and it would be terrible for ratings. Like, they want Miami to go through to the final. But me, as an MLS fan and a neutral, if Nashville beats Miami, I love it.
San Diego's had a pretty dope season, though. San Diego could be a fun one.
They have, but there's some reports out there that Chucky Lozano, their designated player, best player, is a little unhappy right now because he was not happy that he was taken out mid-game at one point, and so there's a little friction right now between Chucky and the manager. So it'll all work out, I'm sure. But
I'm sure.
I don't want to see Seattle win it again. I don't care to see LAFC win it again. Certainly don't want Austin to win, and would love to not have Miami win it again. The rest of them, I'm like, okay, at least to be someone different. Even NYC, I'm like, yeah, you've been there, done it.
Right.
If we could see a Vancouver, a Minnesota, even a Philadelphia or a Nashville, I'd be like, that's somebody different.
Yeah, good point. That makes sense.
So, but do you like watching MLS Cup playoffs as a neutral, even when Sporting's not in it? Because for me, it's kind of fun.
I plan to. Now that I'm back to civilization here, but I normally year after year I do try to get immersed in that.
There's something that's so fun about being a neutral, especially when it goes to like penalty kicks. Once you get to the one-offs, and you're just like, this is awesome, and my heart is not pounding out of my chest because my team is on the brink of elimination. I'm just rooting for chaos.
Right. It's fun. It's more fun that way.
Yeah. So. I don't know. It's a fun time. Lionel Messi, obviously, he won the Golden Boot and signed his new contract, and he'll be around until 2028, and it'll probably be his last team that he ever plays with. And
why wouldn't you? That's a hell of a deal. Why not keep him around?
Keep him around, and there's World Cup that's coming this summer, so it's going to be an interesting year. We'll talk more all about that as it gets closer, but. A fun time to be an MLS fan right now. So
yeah, and the way freaking playoffs go with this thing, it's they go on forever.
They go on forever. It'll go into December, and it's middle of October right now. So
right,
I think they go into December this year. Is that still true?
I think you're right, because that's when
December 6th is the final. So that's crazy. Somehow they drag this out until December 6th, because I think there's usually an international break in the middle of the playoffs.
Oh, I think you're right.
November. So that's why this gets weird. But you got anything else for our good listeners before we log off here on a Sunday morning?
No, man. It's been nice just to catch up on stuff and realize what I've missed here. So excited to be back at it. Playoff time.
Playoff time, baby. So, well, thank y'all so much for listening, Dan. Welcome back. Glad to have you. It's great to talk with Chris, but it's not the same as when you're here.
Sure.
Appreciate you. He doesn't show up in a bathrobe. That's for sure.
That's right, man. You got to bring the spunk.
Thank y'all so much for listening. Make sure you leave us that 5-star rating and review. Make sure you follow us on social at NoOtherPod, at Dan Kooser, at JCMac03. Shoot us an email, nootherpod@gmail.com. Check us out on YouTube, KCSN Soccer, or via the Kansas City Sports Network app. But until next time, he's Dan. I'm Jimmy. We'll catch y'all later. See ya.
I'm going back to bed.